Warning, high caffeine content. You could die. Oh well. Who wants to live forever? Dive!
Gordon's alive! You know, I thought about something about Brian Blessed today. Oh, I was going to make a little thing that says, have a blessed day, and have his face on it.
Right. You can't do that on a podcast.
Hey, it's Jim and PacBilly's opinions on things. That over there is Jim. The one who isn't me is Jim.
Hello, I'm over here, and I'm Jim, and I have opinions.
And I, the one who is me, is PacBilly. I is PacBilly. This podcast is about grammar and the misuse thereof.
I really hope not.
And basically, this is our pilot episode, and we hope that it's not terrible, which
Right.
it probably will be. But you can always turn it off. You can go listen to...
Yeah, no, it's not going to go well if you
ambient
start
noises.
encouraging them to turn it off immediately.
Yeah, turn it off right now.
No, they've
Turn
already
it off.
downloaded it. You've already
Right now,
downloaded
turn
it. You
your
might as well
computer
listen.
off, because this podcast is actually a thinly disguised virus. Right now, hundreds
We need
of...
to talk about this public relations attitude you have.
No,
PacBilly.
this is my marketing strategy.
Right.
Thinly
It's-
disguised virus, the podcast.
I think it's a...
Just, hey, start typing your password in right now.
Email us your passwords
email
and
us
credit
your
card.
password and credit card, yeah.
Now, is that potentially litigationist? Is that that's not a word? Litiginatory.
Litiginatory,
Yeah.
instigate tonometer.
Yeah. See, it actually is about language and grammar. And
Yeah, see?
stupid words that don't exist. No, it's about our opinions on various things. We're going to be talking about
Yeah.
computer games and TV and
Yeah,
movies
it's
and such.
Pop culture,
And-
video
yeah.
games, maybe the news, if anything. In the news,
The
I don't
fucking
know.
news.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
talk about the news.
No.
Unless it's video game news.
Well, we'll see what happens because it's opinions that we have
Right.
opinions on a variety of things.
I have no opinions.
Oh well, this isn't going to work out then.
No.
Just,
This.
okay.
All right, that
That's
was
it.
our podcast.
Yeah.
That was,
Thanks for watching.
yeah.
I mean, listening. I'm so used to doing YouTube. I say thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the MP3 player while you listen to this.
Yes. Thanks for looking at other things. What we are going to talk about first is... What are we going to talk about first? Actually...
Well, I think
Okay.
that we should.
Oh, opinions.
Okay, well, okay,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Let's have opinions.
I have so many. I don't know where to begin.
I am against opinions. I'm firmly against them.
Well, that's just your opinion.
Opinions must down with opinions.
Yeah, my opinions are just facts, so I assume that.
Yeah,
that-
he has no opinions because, everything is the truth of the universe as it exists. And
Right.
I am against opinions, so, again...
we're also going to be talking bullshit non-philosophy. So
That's the end of the podcast right there.
Yeah.
This is our last episode. This is our big anniversary special. Our immediacy
Yeah,
anniversary
this is-
special.
this is the anniversary of our first podcast. It's the 0th anniversary.
Yeah, it's the zero. It's the instant anniversary of our podcast. I'm
what?
enjoying a lovely beverage right now, by the way.
Oh, good.
See if you can guess which one it is, because you already know which one it is.
It's coffee.
Absolutely wrong. No,
Okay,
it is coffee.
it's
I was going to think of like Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster or
Dick
something.
cheese.
Dick cheese, yes.
No, I should have made a reference to the T1000. That's a more well-known liquid state person, sort of.
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm drinking. I'm drinking the T1000.
Right. So,
Can you
yeah,
drink
that's-
the T1000?
You could drink some of him because he can only be an object of equal size. So, and you could see when bits of him would come off, like they would move. Like when he got a bit of him chopped off, he could, if he stood near it, it would revert to its liquid state and then just move back into him. So, if you cut a bit off of him and then melted it and drank it, well, you'd burn yourself for one thing,
but
also
I'd have to run away from the rest of them so that it didn't come through my stomach and rejoin. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the moment he came near you, it could sort of like vomit out of your lungs or something.
Well, that's not what I'm drinking. I'm actually drinking. I've melted down R2D2, and I'm drinking that. Melted down R2D2.
Right. Now, we should have...
I should do a commercial here for melted down R2D2. You know, when I first wake up in the morning, I think about ending it all. But then I melt down R2D2, and then I end it all. I don't know where that's from.
Yeah.
Well, you're ending it all for R2D2. You know, I mean...
Yeah,
if you're going to be melted down and then ingested by some stupid idiot on a commercial, then life is pretty much over for you.
I don't see this business plan going well because there's only so much R2D2 to go around.
Yeah, right.
You know,
it's
going to have to be like cut with a bit of.
There's that $200 a cup coffee that the beans have been shat out by some animal in the tropics. And then they make the coffee from that, and it's supposed to be the most expensive cup. You know what I'm talking about?
That sounds... why wouldn't that be the cheapest copy?
You'd think,
coffee,
wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's like...
I think the animal that shits it out is endangered or something.
Yeah, I was in... I was in this... I was with a friend in this like really expensive shop in London because she wanted to get this like special tea they had, and it was like this really posh place, and I could tell the security guard looked at me like he looked at me with this look like you're not supposed to be in here unless you're a shoplifter. And so and I had nothing to do. I was not interested in anything while she was in the toilet. I was just standing there, and she was just like, this guy was just like looking at me like, you're going to steal something, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm just... Anyway, the point is they had these like just so much really expensive stuff, and they had these lollipops. I don't know what you call them, popsicles, but they're not frozen. They're just like...
Yeah, we call them lollipops.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But they had... it was like £5. That's like $10 or something.
Wow, yeah.
And no, that's not the weird part. The weird part is it was full of ants, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's like the kind of thing only a homeless person would eat, is a lollipop filled with ants.
I remember there was a chocolate shop here that used to have chocolate-covered ants.
And it didn't melt?
No. I mean, they weren't trying to get out of it. They weren't
the shop was made of chocolate. The chocolate shop.
Oh, like, yeah, right.
Yeah, sorry.
The other funny part about that is that the ants were still alive, you know, like, hurry up while there's still chocolate on them before they get away from the chocolate. Yeah. I would eat ants. I think I would eat ants. I would eat.
You mean if you were starving, like?
No, I think I would just eat ants if somebody prepared them well. I could eat them. I wouldn't eat them alive, but you know, it seems like as insects go, like if you had your choice of insect, like say you're on the island of insects, and they're bountiful, they're all over, but that's it. That's all you can eat. Somehow they're living. Maybe there's some food under the ground that they all flock to, but the only thing you have to choose from on the Isle of Insects for sustenance are insects. So, and you've got your pick. You've got your pick of anything. What is your...
I won't be sleeping tonight. I'm just going to be thinking about the Isle of Insects and being itchy all night.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'd have to not be a vegetarian for one thing, but if I was going to eat an animal...
No,
I'd rather eat an invertebrate because it would be less likely to suffer and all that.
Even,
you know,
yeah, you're still in, but you're on this island, so you're either going to die or eat insects.
But people
even
eat
though you're
snails.
A vegetarian.
You know, people eat snails and they don't think that's weird, but they well think, ants.
Plenty of people think snails is weird. Snails is weird. Up here, we think snails is weird. Don't be bringing them. Don't be bringing them snails home for dinner. As to tell us you're going to get married to them snails. I don't know where that's going.
Well, the thing is, it's not the kind of game you can just like hunt with a rifle, because if you shoot
you
a
scoop
snail
them up. They're plentiful. Like on the island, what is your what is your most preferred or your least? What is the insect that you are least averse to? You've got your pick.
Well, there are like millions of species of insects.
I know, but of the ones you know.
I don't. They all look.
Because you're not
like
going to go, oh, I've never seen this before. Let me eat it. You know.
Oh, I do that all the
time. I've never heard of this thing. Let me see if it's poisonous by eating it.
I don't know. It's kind of like one of those questions. Like, what would you rather be stabbed or have your eyes burned?
No,
I mean, it's
because
just like
really. You're thinking of like to me, ants. Ants they're small. They're not. They don't seem terrible. You know.
What, can I cook it?
Yeah, you can cook it.
Okay, well, I'd probably have earthworms,
the Isle of
fried earthworms.
Really?
Yeah, because it looks like it's. Well, for one thing, there's no exoskeleton. I don't want to eat. I mean, an exoskeleton doesn't look like it would be very tasty. It's like you know those when you're eating popcorn.
An earthworm.
No, but look, when you're eating popcorn and you get like those really hard shelly bits stuck in your teeth.
That, yeah.
That's like what eating ants is. It's all that.
Oh.
I mean, there's not much meat in an ant.
Not really, no.
It's all shell. It's all fucking,
but it could
not
be
shell.
It could be crunchy like a like a crisp or something.
No. Crisps are. I mean, no.
Ant crisps.
Yeah.
From the people who brought you melted down R2D2. So earthworms. That's your pick.
Yeah, if I can fry them.
Yeah, you can fry them.
Can I have condiments?
Yeah, there's salt. Because you crash landed.
Because salt is inorganic, so I'm allowed it because it's not an organic thing.
Right. So salt. You get salt.
It's like, do they make speaking of this whole organic foods thing? Like, do they make organic salt? Because that's impossible.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's...
Because I really wish somebody would do that, just because that would really solidify the fact that no one knows what organic means anymore.
No, they don't.
It means it has, a carbon-based structure. Like, fucking petrol, or petroleum, if you like, is organic. Like, new organic petroleum, made without pesticides.
When I go to the health food store, they've added a place where you can fill up your car, health car food.
Well, it's
that's actually a byproduct of melted down R2D2 as well, organic petroleum.
Right. Well, they get the oil out of him before they melt him down, otherwise he'd explode.
Oh, he would explode.
Yeah.
That's spoiler alert. This is all stuff that happens in the new Star Wars movie that they're about to make. Speaking of which, what do you think about that?
Which still has R2D2 in it for some fucking reason.
Yeah. What do you think about the new Star Wars? What do you think about the idea that they're making a new Star Wars movie?
Well, I remember reading a tweet. I don't remember who said it, and I'm just going to steal it. So, look, worrying about the new Star Wars movies ruining Star Wars is like worrying about an iceberg sinking to the bottom of the ocean and smashing into the wreck of the Titanic. It's they can't really do much to make it worse.
They can't.
And they've already done a lot more with it. Like there's been this animated show called The Clone Wars, which is set between episodes 2 and 3, which is the stupidest place to set anything. But there's already this whole expanded universe stuff. There's more to it than just the movies. I'm really more interested in what they might have done with the TV series of it, because I prefer a TV series to a movie just because there's so much more scope. And TV shows used to be really bad and cheesy for the most part, but
they've gotten a lot better recently.
There's a lot more respectable, and with a movie, you watch something for 2 hours, you're like, wow, this is great. I really like these characters. Oh, it's over.
Yeah, and movies tend to have to tell the same sort of story within that time frame, and there's not as much exploration that can be done. However, you're not going to get...
Sorry.
I was just going to say, you're not going to get Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill to sign on for a series worth of product. So,
well, I don't know. I mean, Mark Hamill, you would.
Oh, Mark Hamill, sure.
Because he
Right.
did the Batman animated series and all kinds of other stuff. And fucking Wing Commander, he wasn't exactly, this big star. And I don't know if Carrie
Mark
Fisher's
Hamill,
been in a lot.
and Carrie Fisher, you're lucky to even be able to say the word Star Wars, the phrase Star Wars in her presence, I think. I think she's
Really?
got like a contract writer in all of her other movies that you don't mention Star Wars.
Why?
I know that was part of her conditioning to be on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Like, she did not want anybody to mention Star Wars, and they talk about that in the director's commentary of that movie. So yeah, it's just.
Does she just hate it then, or what?
I think she's just. It's like, if you're associated with that one character, and everywhere you go, people say.
Right.
Oh, hey, it's blah, blah, blah. It's Princess Leia. I'm sorry,
Right.
I blanked on your name for a second.
Right.
Why am I still saying, I'm just going to leave you alone from now on, Carrie Fisher. I'm sorry I came up to you. Sorry, I had to role play that until it was, I don't know who that was. But that's why
A special guest on our podcast,
Yeah, right.
Some weird
Hey,
Carrie Fisher
Carrie
obsessed
Fisher.
person who doesn't know her character
what
name.
her character's name is.
Yeah.
Just springs out of the bushes and, hey,
Whoever you are,
I'm a big fan.
I thought it was. Are you? I think you're the wrong person. I'd better go home now.
wet myself. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That was Jim and PacBilly Theater with Guy who doesn't know who Carrie Fisher is, yet is a huge fan.
Yeah. So I've been playing Star Trek Online quite a bit, and the space combat stuff is good and fun. It's a bit too easy, but the part that is really boring is the quests. The quests are completely pointless. They're just contrived ways of getting you into combat situations, and like there's all these dialogue things, and you just gotta go over to this console and place a charge, and then decrypt this data, and you're just going up to an object and pressing a button, and that's it. There's nothing to it, and it's so pointless. And why not just make it just a big combat arena? Because that's the only part of it that's fun. All the rest of it is just padding, just to, just go over here and then press this button, and go over here and press this other button, and then, hey, you did a quest.
Well, sometimes that's not too terribly bad, because if it's sending you on a story where fun things happen to you, like you get to turn into some weird creature and do a few things as that creature, that can be fun. I don't necessarily mind uncovering things and not having combat. What I would like to see more of is sort of puzzly type things. But the problem with that is that we've got instant access to the solutions to the puzzles, so there would have to be some sort of dynamic thing like a maze that always changes, or
but mazes are fundamentally terrible things.
Well, they are, but that's just an example, and it's not a good one,
right?
But something
the thing is
that's living and breathing that you can't just Google the answer to is my point.
Right. The problem is that this is something I heard about when I was watching a development vlog, which I hate the word vlog, but whatever, of the guy who's making Gunpoint.
I'm sorry, but vlog sounds like something you do when you've eaten something that doesn't agree with you.
Oh man, I'm gonna vlog. So yeah, I was watching this development log, video development log vlog thing by Tom Francis, who's working on the Gunpoint game. Which, have you heard of Gunpoint?
No, it's just you're shooting people like at gunpoint, so they're really close, and it's really easy, and the game's over immediately.
No, the name comes from the fact that originally he had sort of wanted to develop the idea around holding someone at gunpoint, that moment in a movie where they're both pointing the gun at each other and no one does anything for some reason, even though everyone should be shooting immediately.
Ang Lee movies.
Yeah. But he found out that wasn't too much of a good game mechanic, but the name stuck. It's actually a very well done stealth game. It's like it's 2D side-on perspective, sort of pseudo-retro. And there's this whole thing where you can like hack computers and rewire the building, and there's all these sort of emergent mechanics which come out of it.
Oh, wow.
And the idea he was trying to get across in this vlog was that you can't algorithmically generate puzzles. You have to hard code a puzzle for it to be comprehensible. to create a puzzle you can solve, you have to think it through, basically, and you can't just create an algorithm for it.
But couldn't you create... Okay, take the Rubik's Cube, for example, okay? You know, the solution depends on the way that it's messed up. So couldn't you create some sort of a Rubik's Cube type thing that... It's ridiculous.
Wait, but the difficulty is making it an interesting puzzle.
Right, where it's not just...
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that for a puzzle game, if it's not like Tetris, you have to basically design all the puzzles. It's very difficult. I don't think it's impossible, but
yeah, I see what you mean.
It's kind of like trying to program natural language. It's just so difficult.
Well, but there are things you can do, I guess, in an MMO to make it more immersive and make it more interesting, and not just cater to the people who want the best gear and to kill the most leveled up things or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What we should do is make our own game called Gunpoint, and it's just you're pointing at guns. You know, it's just a game where you point at guns and steal his thunder.
Well,
steal this guy's thunder.
It should be point gun.
Right. But then we don't get to steal as much thunder.
You want to make games just that are a funny idea and not actually
good games. Yeah, right. Like Sim Stapler. There's actually a Sim Stapler out there. Every 10 staples, you get a woman who says, "Splendid." And I've gotten up to 30 before I wrote the company an angry letter, and then mailed it to myself and got mad and mailed another letter to my... No.
Like, I didn't make this game. Why are you...
Why does this asshole keep bothering me? Okay, I've got... this is a test. I don't know how well it's going to work, but it's a game that we play with the audience, okay?
Okay.
And basically, the gist of the game is, with my own human mouth, I will attempt
your human mouth,
yes.
as opposed to your...
Well, that's the only mouth I have so far.
Your dog mouth.
Yeah. I'm working on other mouths, but so far it's just the one. With my own human mouth, I will attempt to replicate sound effects from a particular video game for a particular system, and I don't know if I should give away the system or not, but I will attempt to present those to the audience and let people write in PacBilly@gmail.com and with their answer. Now, just put in the subject line, mouth, sound, video game, noise, whatever. Okay?
Yes.
Mouth, sound, video game, noise, whatever. That's what you have to write all of that. I don't want anybody who's not committed enough to write mouth, sound, video game, noise, whatever in the subject line when you
I think
as
few emails as we're going to get, it doesn't really matter.
It's just going to be you, really, I think.
Right.
So,
I'm going to send in my guess.
Yeah, right. Okay, so here it is.
And try not to blurt it out right now. Yeah.
And again, for this first one, all you win is the
glory.
The glory and the me of saying your name that you won on the next podcast.
Right.
Okay, here we go. I was practicing this in the car today on the way to something. I think my brother would know immediately what this was, and it's sort of obvious. There's only so many that it can be, and if you think I should give the platform as well after I've done these sound effects, like that could be anything.
No,
then
I don't think so.
Well, maybe just let me do the sound effects.
If no one gets it, then we give away the platform and
okay,
stuff.
and then okay, right. So here it is, episode 1 of video game mouth sound whatever. Advantage player 1. Deuce. Philippoussis to serve. Philippoussis to serve. Come on, Mark. All right.
Now, obviously, an answer of tennis will not be sufficient.
That will not be sufficient.
No, you have to actually name the game and the system.
Right.
And then you win. A great big nothing.
I think we've given away too much by saying that was tennis.
Right. Yeah.
No. Yeah. You win the big nothing, but I kind of want to say.
But it's a very special nothing.
I kind of want to say what the platform is, because if nobody knows, at least it'll give them a direction
They'll just search if they know the platform. They'll just search for tennis games on that platform.
Yeah, and there weren't a lot.
You don't want people cheating because then they'll unfairly win the nothing.
Yeah. But that's not necessarily cheating. I mean, if you don't know it and you think you can figure it out, go ahead. It's obviously not going to be the Commodore 64 because there wasn't, But that's my first one. Very despondent, sort of. Advantage player one. Oh God, my stomach hurts. Wait. Oh, advantage player one. Oh.
Oh, disadvantage me.
Philippoussis to serve. Oh. We can cut most of that out.
Yeah. I think that should be the podcast title. We can cut most of
that out. Yeah. Or maybe we'll leave it in. Who knows? We'll just have to listen and.
That should be the podcast title.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll leave it in. That's what she said.
I'm sure there's already a podcast called That's What She Said.
Yeah, of course there is. There's like probably 20. Okay, so this is a subject that kind of relates to your YouTube series 2064, which is about...
a game that builds past... Yeah, right. I just wanted to...
exactly.
Yeah. That was...
Thanks for that.
Totally wrong.
And that was part of the
theme song to 2064.
The theme song to 2064, which is actually much better than that when in the video. But
is it
anyway,
really?
It's about but that wouldn't take much.
Right, because I used actual words for one thing.
Actual words are good. We've been using quite a lot. Anyway,
the reason it's called 2064 is because it's games made for the Commodore 64 since the year 2000. And so it's developers creating new software for old platforms.
Right, and what I was thinking was, let's say you've got these great programmers who are doing these amazing things with with old hardware, using new programming techniques. And I was just thinking, if these guys put their effort into making things with modern tools and programming languages and systems, wouldn't they be able to necessarily make a better game? And isn't that more important, making good games, than making good games for old systems? And I think you probably have a certain opinion on that. So what do you think?
I don't necessarily think it's going to be a better game simply because it's for a newer platform. You have greater opportunities, but if you can create a masterpiece within a certain set of limitations that, hardware limitations or whatever, I don't think just because you're allowed to use 32-bit graphics, it's going to be better than it is in an 8-bit graphics machine. There's a big community of people who make demos for the Commodore 64, and part of the attraction to these developers is pushing that system to its limits and drawing out what you can. Polar Ventures recently posted a demo that one demo scene group did, and it's very impressive what they were able to do with a machine, given its capabilities. I don't necessarily think that unless you're simply talking, the audience will be broader if you make a game for a platform that is still alive. Yes, I mean that's obviously true, but will the game necessarily be better because of the modern programming tools? I don't necessarily think so.
Well, what I'm thinking is, from one perspective, just it would take longer. Trying to make a game for the Commodore 64 is just necessarily more difficult and more involved. If somebody made Nightingale with Java or something, it would be just as good a game, but they could probably get it done in half the time.
But that's a very interesting point. The guy's actually porting it to modern platforms. I think it's going to be released for the PC and for Xbox Live. I highly recommend, if you don't have a Commodore 64 and you want to play Nightingale, you watch my review for it on my channel, youtube.com, PacBilly, whatever. But the thing about it is, it's a great game. I finished it recently. It's a masterpiece. I absolutely love it. I don't know that people are going to be as blown away by it if it's on a modern console or platform, but I thought it was wonderful on the Commodore. See, that's the other thing. I think the limitations of the hardware necessarily sometimes sort of corner you into making a better game, insofar as if the man had released the game for modern platforms originally, it would be a lot more. There would probably be a lot more going on, and I don't think the game would be as enjoyable. I think sometimes the limitations of the hardware just force the developers into it's the less is more thing. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, yes, like it would prevent feature creep and things
feature
like
creep
that.
and just filling the screen with enemies, and it's just this nice little experience. Nobody would have made Bard's Tale 3 the way that they made it back then. Today they would have had a lot more features and a lot more, like, why just show a portrait of this enemy when we can show the enemy fighting and the hero fighting the enemy, and it would lead less to the imagination.
But that seems like more of a problem with development than it is a problem with, it doesn't seem logical to me that limitations will make things better, because
let me give you an example.
The thing that has made modern games less interesting is not that they have more power and they have more opportunity, it's that they're being constrained by publishers. You see that with the indie games. They're all, a lot of them aren't very original, but a lot of them are. That's where new things come about. You couldn't make Minecraft on the Commodore 64 ever. There's just no way.
True. But there are,
and the thing is, Night and Growl is fundamentally a very, it's a great game. I haven't played it. I'm sure it's brilliant, but it is very derivative and very standard in its mechanics. It's a platform game. Like you said, it's a Metroidvania game. It's not. It's its own.
Yeah, it is very derivative, but the thing about it, that doesn't matter, because what makes it great isn't so much the mechanics. Because I don't think games are just about the mechanics. You have to have a good mechanic, and they stole a very good one. But what they built on top of that mechanic is this nice little world that you sort of get taken into, and I don't know if it would be as this will be an interesting thing, because when it comes out for a modern platform, I'll get it and see if it's as engaging and as fun on the new platform as it was on the original.
Well, I don't see why it wouldn't, because you enjoyed the Dark Castle games on the modern Mac systems just as much as you did on the old one, on the Commodore 64 and other things. When they're making the new Dark Castle game, they have a lot more scope, but they still make the same fundamental game.
That's true, but with the Dark Castle game, they didn't add too much. They didn't add too much that detracted from the original experience.
I think that there's a tendency for the game to be viewed not objectively, because it's like, this isn't so much this is a great game, it's like this is a great game considering that it was done on the Commodore. And I don't think that is really looking at the game for what it is. It's more looking at the game for what a technical achievement it is, and I think that is a very valid thing, but I don't think that necessarily makes it a better game just because it was harder to make.
He's using us to make a better game. Sorry.
Why was it in that accent? Oh, that was me. Yeah, that's why. Yeah. You mean all of being useful? I can't do your one either.
Yeah, let's reverse our.
Yeah, let's just re-record Shitty Quest in reverse.
Who cares what people think? Like, if you don't know what this is, we're doing the voices from a game that we made. Jim mostly made it, but I helped. Okay, so.
Oh, you were very, very much a part of it.
Let's start. Ready? Wait.
Well, you're the protagonist now, so
throw me a line. Throw me like the first line, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, one that's interactive.
This place looks so shitty.
I don't know. I think it serves its purpose quite well.
And what's that?
To have a place to sit down with your hands behind your head.
Well, I don't know what comes after that.
That's it.
We need like a longer... Oh, and
Yeah,
how about this? And you smell.
That, my good man, is the smell of unbridled uselessness.
Okay, going back to what I was saying, though. You're saying that I only like it because it's...
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But I think that inevitably colours your perception of it.
It does in some respects. I think it would still be a lot of fun on a modern console.
I don't know if you'd even have noticed it if it wasn't on the Commodore 64. So it seems like almost an artificial way of getting attention for the game itself by saying, hey, look at this game because it was hard to make. You know, not look at this game because it's objectively a great game.
But I think it is. I think it is objectively a good, fun game. Would I have noticed it?
Of course it is. I'm saying I'm not disagreeing that it's a good game.
I agree to an extent with what you're saying. Part of the draw for me to older platforms is that because of the limitations of the hardware, because you can't fill in all the gaps on the screen visually and sonically, you're forced to use your imagination. And I'm always going to be more engaged the more I use my imagination, up to a point, you know, like
right. I think that
I don't want to imagine the entire game, but but it's the whole Jaws thing.
You need a seed to start with, yeah.
It's just like the movie Jaws, you know, the shark broke down, so they didn't show it, and because they didn't show it, it was a much more compelling film than if they had shown the shark the entire time. Your imagination is always going to create something that's greater than what the reality is. So I think the lesson that can be learned in game development is leave gaps for that, which they don't do. You know, they don't do in modern movies now. They don't, because they can show everything, they do, and nobody questions whether they should.
Well, you see, I think that actually comes a lot down to how good your imagination is. Because if you've got a great imagination, then it's going to do better than Hollywood. I don't have as good an imagination as in terms of the ability to conjure up images in a vivid way in my mind. I don't have it the way that other people do. I know this because I don't dream vividly. You know, I talked about this with everyone who has been willing to listen, asking them what their visceral experience of dreaming is, and it's hard for me to even get them to understand what I'm asking. I'm asking, when you have a dream, are you having the same perceptual experience as when you look at something with your open, conscious eyes? And some of them say, well, yeah. As if it's obvious, of course you do. And some of them say, no, of course you don't. And very few people seem to realise that there's this real difference in how people are dreaming and imagining things. When I dream, it's no different than if I was to close my eyes right now and imagine something. But then I also don't know how vivid that is for other people. It's like this bare shadow of visual perception. I mean, what is it for you?
Well, it varies. I think it varies from dream to dream, you know. In some dreams, I think it's very vivid, and
right.
very.
But what do you mean? Do you actually see it? Is it just like sight? Is it just like actually having your eyes open?
To an extent, I mean, once you're out of the dream, you can't really, you know, you can't really gauge anymore because it's already leaving you, you know. But there are times, there have been dreams where, you know, I could tell you the color of, and the colors seemed brighter, but I could tell you the color of, you know, someone's shirt, or I had one dream that I wasn't even in. It was just, I don't know why, but I had a dream that the Monkees had a new album, and all it was this panning shot of trees. The band The Monkees that had the TV show in the '60s. And
they were actual monkeys,
right? No, but it's all it was an announcer going, "The Monkees have a new album. Yes, the Monkees have a new album." And the album flashed up on the screen in front of this panning shot of trees, and the price came up. But he never said the name of the album. It was just, "The Monkees have a new album." And that was it. That was the dream.
That was the name of the album. The Monkees have a new album. Right. Yeah. It's no, but
I'm
see,
not
the thing
gonna
is,
tell
even the
you
concept.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, even the concept of brightness, like of vividness of color, is something that just isn't there in a tree. So I think that I just have a less vivid visual imagination.
Or that you're just less visually oriented, and there's more. There are other things.
No, I'm very visual. Seeing things
is right up there.
It's
one of your top senses.
It's yeah. No, but you know what I mean. Like it. So I think
it's
that's
in the
why
top five. I'm sorry.
I am a lot more drawn to things that don't require imagination. You know, I mean, but I think in Shitty Quest we left a lot for the imagination. You know, with the graphics.
Yeah, and I think it makes it work, though. I really do.
Yeah.
To me, it makes it work.
So when you look at Shitty Quest, are you filling in the space? Are you seeing the door as a piece of wood?
I'm not seeing the door as a piece of wood, but I'm feeling the space, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Like, I have a very tangible idea of what being there feels like.
Right. But do you think of it like from the perspective of the protagonist, or do you still feel that you're looking at it from outside?
I can sometimes feel it from the perspective of the protagonist, but it's not something that I consciously ponder. It's just something that I feel like I know what it would be like to be in that room, even though I don't.
See, I would only feel that way if it was a first-person game. And I think that's something, because when I could first play a first-person game like Mercenaries 3, it was such a different experience to seeing the character from the side scrolling along some platform. And I think that's like, I really like first-person games. You know, and there is a real difference for me. If it's a third-person game, even just over the shoulder, I feel completely detached.
That's interesting.
Whereas if it's because I have to see what I'm seeing, I can't just imagine.
I really like the first-person perspective of Bard's Tale. I feel like I think I remember that when Castle Wolfenstein and Doom came out, it wasn't. I resisted it for some reason. I just felt it.
Right.
It was too. I don't know. I wasn't as engaged with those games at first. I thought they were a nice novelty, but I thought it was just a phase and that we would go back. But I loved Wing Commander. That's the thing. I really loved Wing Commander. I just wasn't as engaged with those games, and I don't know what the difference was. Maybe I just didn't.
Well, the difference is you're in a cockpit.
Yeah. Yeah, the cockpit thing to me is huge. I think all space games should give you that sensory sensation. What? Really? Sensory sensation? That sensation of being.
It's like a visual image.
Yeah, right. The sensation of being in the cockpit. I think that's key, and that I think that's why I don't like. It's not that I don't like Frontier as much, but it doesn't feel as cockpit. I don't want to say cockpitty. Don't give me your cockpitty.
Well, because you have a small...
Yeah, right. That's what she said. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not going to stay in there. But anyway, you know what I mean.
That's what she said.
That will stay in there.
Yeah, but without context, it won't work.
It won't. Oh, okay. So, here's the other thing. What time? How much? Okay.
We've been going an hour.
All right. So, really quickly, I wanted to premiere a song
A song?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm not
Well,
going to
let's hear
tell
it.
you what this song is from, but it's something that I worked on and would like to share. I was going to wait for the YouTube premiere, but people who listen to the podcast will get to hear it.
It's an exclusive preview.
It's an exclusive preview.
Yeah, and I'm hearing it for the first time myself too.
Right,
So.
and here it is.
War. Never been so much fun. 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 Go up to your brother, kill him with your gun, leave him lying in his uniform, dying in the sun. Pew. War. Never been so much fun. 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 Go up to your brother, kill him with your gun, leave him lying in his uniform, dying in the sun. War. Pew. War. Never been so much fun. 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 Go up to your brother, kill him with your gun, leave him lying in his uniform, dying in the sun. Pew. War. Never been so much fun. 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 Go to your brother, kill him with your gun, leave him lying in his uniform, dying in the sun. Pew. War. Never been so much fun. War. Never been so much fun.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. It's I love the pew.
Yeah, and we're not going to tell everybody what that song is because I want you to write in who the first person to get the answer right will win me saying that you were the first person to get the answer right on the next podcast.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's really the most valuable prize that anyone has ever. So, and the email address is, again, PacBilly@gmail.com. We'll eventually get a regular one, but for now I'm just throwing it out there, PacBilly@gmail.com. One thing that when we recorded that song, I didn't realize how monotonous the original actually was until we sat down, and the guy that played the guitar was like, "Man, do you realize that this is just one chord?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah. Wow, I guess it is. Okay, well, let's just have fun with it anyway." And so we didn't.
So how much of that was you? Because I can't. Obviously, you were doing the war.
No,
but,
that was me. That was not me.
Oh, it sounded like you.
I think I just was sitting at the console telling everybody else what to do because.
So you didn't do any of the vocals?
I didn't do any of the vocals. I don't think I did any of the vocals. The vocals.
Right.
Were done by the same. If you look at the original Shitty Quest trailer, the person who's doing the clicking is who did the vocals, and
with the shotgun to his face.
With the shotgun to his face, yeah. That was supposed to be a pistol, and but I forgot to bring my little fake pistol, and so
fake pistol, yeah.
Well, it's a pellet gun. It's just a pellet gun, but it looks real. And but he had an actual real shotgun, and I felt really nervous, even though I knew it wasn't loaded. I was pointing a shotgun at someone's head at point blank range, and it just, it just really made me feel nervous.
It's got a psychological effect, even if it's not loaded.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But anyway, so that's that.
No wonder he looked so nervous.
Yeah,
his eyes
that wasn't
back
acting.
And forth.
Yeah. And he didn't know it was.
Because you told him it was loaded.
I told him it was loaded, yeah.
Yeah. That's where he had to cut out the sound of him shitting his pants.
Yeah, we're going to use that for the next Shitty Quest game, actually.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was used for the turd falling on Earth, you know.
Yes, that's what we did. Yeah, I edited it back in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was the first episode of whatever the hell we're calling this. Oh,
Jim and PacBilly's opinions on things.
Jim and PacBilly's opinions on things.
We are definitely those people, and we had opinions. So I think in that sense, it's a success.
The objects that we had opinions on were things. So this was,
and some of them were concepts, so they weren't objects.
Well, the anyway. Objects and concepts that we had opinions on all fit into the category of thing.
Yeah, and send your hate mail to PacBilly@gmail.com.
And send your love mail, your stalking
to
love
yourself.
mail to Jim.
To yourself, because send it to yourself, because you have to love your...
What if there is
that's somebody
Jim?
else?
There's a guy named Jim.
I'm sure there is.
Who suddenly gets all these weird stalkery messages.
Oh, yeah, all these.
Well, it's just going to be for me and you to see if...
Yeah.
We'll be listening to this podcast to see if it worked or whatever, just editing it or whatever. And then we'll hear, oh, wait, they want us to send in our email to this address? I wonder...
Yeah.
Okay.
You forget that you're listening to yourself.
Yeah, right. It'll be just like the 40.
Who are these assholes? Yeah.
Goldfish memory. Okay. And I just mean the memory of a goldfish, not remembering goldfish of years past, of days gone by. So that's the first episode, and we hope that you hate it and send
hate mail, because as long as we get attention of some kind, that's validation.
Right, and it can only get better as far as I'm concerned. There's nowhere to go from up, as you've no doubt.
There's nowhere to go from up.
I'm sorry, there's nowhere to go but up.
That's what she said.
Oh.